basement, level vibes with another one, straight up, blackness aye. Who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, I do it for the love, him not do it for no money. Straight up, him attack, educating everybody. Big up my friends and big up my family. Turn on the radio, catch the vibes, it's integrity. Straight up, Benskop stands for unity. One people, one nation, one destiny. Free up the truth in the air, even the blind can see. The deaf can hear, the dumb can talk, the cripple can walk. Boom. Who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, we have to gather wrong, grab a seat and sit down, pay attention. Education, liberation, we have to stand strong. Benskop upon the radio, lively up the program. Everybody call somebody and let them turn and tune and pon the radio and catch the boom song. We boom it up already, we have to boom it up again. Expose and reveal him. Who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio.
So, this is attorney Shellen Washington, owner and founder of the Washington Law Firm, located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you. So call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.
Yeah, my name is Justity Caldata Francis Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my ex next to the cop, and what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data. I have none.
All right, welcome back. It's 12 minutes after 9 o'clock in Guyana. People are on the edge in Guyana. Lots of people are watching what's going on, what's the latest, what is being done. Irfan Ali, Jack Deal, and the whole bunch, the whole pack of those vagabonds in the PPP are quiet. But yet, if you notice, Irfan Ali sits at wherever he's sitting, whether it's at the office of the president, whether it's at State House, wherever he's sitting, with his hands open like this, waiting for foreign media to get in touch with him. And so he got through this afternoon. Al Jazeera got in touch with him, and he jumped up with his Santa Claus suit, sat next to the Christmas tree, and he was ready to rock and roll again. But thus far, and I just want to make this point clear, they have not addressed the nation on this issue. They need to address the nation. But tomorrow, Jack Deal is going to sit at his press conference and the usual style, the usual cuss-out style, the usual, I wouldn't even say market style, because we all love a market style chat or chit-chat. But he's worse than that, worse than the gutter. So tomorrow he's going to sit there with this crocodile-looking face and his tears, as though we're all supposed to be sympathetic to him and not the country. He believes that he is the victim, not you Guyanese, but everybody is to be blamed except Jack Deal. But let me remind you guys that Jack Deal, what Guyana is facing right now, Jack Deal is to be blamed. The PPP is to be blamed. Do not be fooled.
You could probably, on the maritime area, give Venezuela a channel out to the sea. So you make a slight concession in the maritime area.
That's all he's concerned about. Concessions upon concessions and concessions. Sorry. So now his deeds turn back and it's biting him right now. Why would you, knowing that Venezuela has been for the longest time claiming a piece of Guyana, but yet Jack Deal sat with Maduro, from what we've heard, mind you, sat with then the late Hugo Chavez, from what we've heard, and promised them a piece of Essequibo. Then Exxon and those other companies got in. Jack Deal gave away all those deals to their friends and their cronies, and billions upon billions of dollars making. Jack Deal is getting richer and richer. Irfan Ali is getting richer and richer, and their friends and cronies are getting richer and richer. And just like in Venezuela, under Maduro, the people are getting poorer and poorer and poorer. That's exactly what's happening right now in Guyana. And so do not be fooled, guys. All that is happening right now in Guyana, every single thing as it pertains to this Venezuela border, blame this guy.
You could probably, on the maritime area, give Venezuela a channel out to the sea. So you make a slight concession in the maritime area.
So he created a problem, and he wants the Guyanese people to fix it for him. He wants the Guyanese people to risk their lives and go out there and fight for him. For him. He's only concerned about himself. That is what this is about, guys. The oil, the wealth, the riches, and all these things. And the poor ladies, and the poor men, and the little boys and girls from Blackbush Polder, now get nothing forget. The people at Philippi, now get nothing forget. The people at Skeldon, their stalls destroyed, about 8, 10, or whatever amount. Nobody cares about them. Nobody. No one is concerned about them. Has anyone addressed you guys as yet? No, nobody. Has Irfan addressed you guys as yet? No, not at all. Because he doesn't care. He wants to pander up and dress up and practice to speak in front of the mirror so that when the foreign media calls him, guess what? Oh, and Guyana, and we've contacted this person. We've talked to the Guyanese people. They're the ones who want to hear what is going on. They're the ones who are going to face whatever situation is with that madman in Venezuela, Maduro. Nobody's talking. All they get their propaganda media houses, for example, concerning the missing crew members and the helicopter. They got their mouthpiece over, newsroom, put out big headline. Crew found. In other words, nothing else. It's okay. The helicopter was found and that's it. Crew members are okay. The government mouthpiece, newsroom. And then MCN, the National Communications Network, ran with the same news. Oh, they found the man, the crew members, everything is okay. Go back to sleep, guys. Go back to sleep. Don't worry. They found the helicopter. That's the propaganda they were spreading. And some of you bought into that propaganda. Some of you bought into that propaganda, right? And they found the aircraft. They found the aircraft. Look, where does Paku come from? Now is the time talking nonsense? In other words, this Paku is saying, I am talking nonsense. And now is not the time to talk nonsense. Telling you guys the truth to this Paku, Wazim Hasu, or Hasu, you should name Hassa or something, is saying that what I'm talking here is nonsense. What I am trying to save this Paku's life. Wasim, Hasum, Sunung, Ugumung, whatever. And he say it's nonsense. But I bet if I were to send him the link so that he can come on the show to say exactly what is nonsense. What nonsense? Tell me, talk to me. What is it that I'm talking about that is nonsense? Tell me, come on, Wazim, or Bazim, or whatever Zim. What is nonsense? You see, when you speak the truth and you enlighten people, you show them the brighter side of the tunnel. The Wazim and the Kazim and stuff come out from God and heaven knows what hole. Sorry about that, guys. And then they pop up to say that it's nonsense. They can't tell you anything else, They get vexed, the bumps raise, and all manner of things. And so let's get back to regular programming. Jagdev and these guys cannot come and talk to you guys about nothing. We had to force the chief of staff of the Guyana Defense Force to hop out of his crease and to say something about what's happening in the country. And when you listen to the guy actually try to explain what is happening, it's like, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I got belly walk. Those of you who are not Guyanese, if you have Guyanese friends, ask them what is belly walk. Absolutely and totally surprised that at a time like this, a lot of these men in positions are low energy men, slow talk. It's like, oh my gosh. While he was talking, I'm looking over to see if there was any fighter jet from Venezuela or wherever. I'm like, what's happening? Why is this guy sounding like this? How is he going to motivate his soldiers? How are they going to be motivated? I don't know. Maybe I heard something else. I don't know. What I do know, though, is that this whole situation, this entire situation, I believe is fishy. Something is fishy about this. And I say this not to be insensitive to the relatives who are anxiously awaiting some positive word as it pertains to this missing, quote unquote, missing helicopter. These men are experienced men in the Guyana Defense Force. At least we know of a couple of them that ought to be Lieutenant Colonel Michael Charles. Lieutenant Colonel Michael Charles is no dodo head. He is an experienced military officer. He is an experienced pilot. And experienced pilots would not take big chances to fly in an area that they know the weather is totally bad. It's a mess. I am almost certain that Lieutenant Colonel, Michael Charles would not take a risk to go into an area and fly his helicopter into an area that is highly questionable. I doubt that something like this would ever happen. I doubt that he it's messy over there. It's foggy over there. It's a total mess. Look what's going on there. Let me fly the helicopter straight. I doubt that Lieutenant Colonel Michael Charles would ever do something like that. And so the question is tonight, ladies and gentlemen, what is the story behind this quote-unquote missing helicopter? Did they land, and then were they fighter jets from Venezuela that escorted them over onto the Venezuela side? What's the story really? And were their superiors contacted? Look, we just gotta, I'm not saying that I'm correct, we're just trying to fix this puzzle. But the fact that these guys in the government, the so-called government, are quiet. Irfan Ali is quiet. Jerry Govaya is quiet. He is supposed to be the National Security Advisor. The National Security Advisor cannot update you guys. If the so-called Commander-in-Chief cannot update the nation, and they place that responsibility on this guy who couldn't even pull the job off. He couldn't even do the trick. He seemed more traumatized than anything else. Let's get back to these military guys. Brigadier retired Gary Beaton. He is said to be the domestic partner or husband of former minister Jennifer Westford. Then there's Colonel Michael Shahood. Okay. We heard he went on an operation recently to either recapture or whatever the escaped prisoner from Mazaruni. You guys remind me of the name of the individual that escaped. Oh gosh, the name I missed the name for a second. And so they have Lieutenant Colonel Sean Welcome. And then there's Lieutenant Colonel Michael Charles, he's a pilot. Then Lieutenant Colonel Andio, I believe, Michael Crawford. And then the Staff Sergeant, Jason Kahn. There's one other person. We'll try to get the name of that individual. Were they the only folks on this? Just 7 of them? 7 of them? Royden Williams, thank you, also known as Smalley. Colonel Michael Shahood was dispatched to recapture, and then lots of things happened during that process. And then we're hearing, I just got some information. I'm getting my information from credible sources, mind you, credible individuals, that the conspiracy theory has just begun. We're hearing, mind you, and let me just make this lucidly clear. As I get the information from all realms, I want to be very careful what I say and not to be too, to take the family members into consideration that at this time, propaganda and all these things wouldn't help. But Venezuela is at war with Guyana. Let's not fool ourselves. We are hearing several things, and these things we cannot dismiss it at all. We are hearing that Venezuelans shot the helicopter down. Members of the Venezuelan military shot the helicopter down. Now, I don't know whether that is accurate or not, but because of the circumstances, because of the situation at the border right now with Venezuela and Guyana, anything, I repeat, anything is possible. Anything, I repeat, anything is possible. And so what I say here this evening, it is not for any propaganda purposes. It is not to make the family feel or to be insensitive towards the family. Certainly not. We're trying to fix this puzzle. What could have possibly gone wrong? Again, let me say, these guys are not, they're not guys that just walk into the Guyana Defense Force last year. I'm hearing a lot of things, good things, mind you, about Lieutenant Colonel Michael Charles. Lieutenant Colonel Michael Charles. I know some of the others, but we're hearing a lot of good things about Lieutenant Colonel Michael Charles, right? Yeah, so we leave that as is for now. But these guys are supposed to be trained, well-trained guys, well-trained. They're not pakus. Some of them might be connected to their political parties, whether the PPP, but they're not pakus, mind you. They're not pakus. One or two of them may have tortured people in the not-so-distant past, but they're not pakus. What was the purpose of this trip? To just go into an area that the weather is supposedly, at that time, was supposedly bad weather. Is it bad judgment? Or what sort of mission were they on to in that part of the region and in that sort of condition? What is happening? The commander-in-chief cannot say a word, and I'm almost certain that they're getting information, whatever sort of intelligence that they're getting. Now we're hearing that there's nothing really, no communication. They're not. They just have to shut stuff down, and then again, hearing that the Venezuelan military guys shot this helicopter down. I don't know if that's accurate. Again, I do not want to, and I wish to make this lucidly clear. We have some lawyers who are watching this show, and I just want to make this really, really crystal clear that I am not suggesting that it is accurate that this information that I just received, that this helicopter was shot down by Venezuelan military. I don't know if that is accurate. So please, if they're family members and friends of these folks who are part of the crew members, I'm just saying what I've heard. And based on what's happening now with Venezuela and Guyana, we cannot just dismiss that. We cannot dismiss that. We just cannot dismiss that. What sort of mission? That's it. What sort of mission under those sort of conditions? This helicopter, there's no weapon fighting capability. It has nothing. It's just like you jump in the helicopter, but this is a used helicopter that they purchased for probably 6 or 5 times the price. Then they paint it up a little. I'm not sure if Jerry Govaya was responsible. Paint it up, dab a little paint on it, fix up the front light, get a couple of other parts, put it back together quickly. And there's really nothing. It has no surveillance capabilities, nothing. It's just it's just a little a helicopter that you get, and you set it up and you put it together, and then you expect to go in an area like that. Bad weather. I doubt again that this gentleman, this officer, Lieutenant Colonel Michael Charles, good man, I've heard, good man, an experienced pilot, is going to say, come on, guys, let's go straight into the weather. Let's go straight into there. Guys, I'm on the air. You cannot send me a voicemail now. I can't stop to listen to your voicemail. Do the math on that, guys. So when I'm on air and you send me a voicemail, how am I going to hear your voicemail? Am I going to stop to listen to it? Well, come on. If you are going to send me some information when I'm live on the air, type it out. If you can't write, draw it and send it. But do not send me a voicemail now. I can't. I just can't listen to it. I just can't. Sorry, even as I'm talking to you guys, I'm getting information and contact numbers. Some of those contact numbers, some of you guys are sending to me. Please, guys, I have those. I have the contact number. Let me try to see if I'll get somebody actually who can speak on this matter, who can give an update on the matter. Let's see. We're gonna call. Some of them may hang up, but that's okay. I'm accustomed to people hanging up on me. One particular person in the regime I'm actually calling, and I don't want to mention the name of the individual because somebody may call him and say, somebody high up in the regime may call and say, hey, don't answer the man call. But let me get some of your take, some of you though, let me get your take on what you think may have happened. And I would like to include you guys in the audience. I'm reading some of your comments, please. But somebody's Irfan Ali, they're hiding something from the public. Something from the public that they're hiding. Brigadier retired Gary Beaton. He was on this, he's retired. He sits at the office of the president or somewhere, and I don't know what he advises Irfan Ali on, but he was on this trip too. What was the purpose of this trip at this time? I don't know. I'm not saying that they cannot fly around in Guyana's territory, but what was the purpose of this trip? We're not hearing anything. Yeah, we're not hearing anything. Paula Premdas is asking, and good night to you, Miss Premdas. Are they still missing? Yes, Miss Premdas, they are still missing. And in case some of you guys missed the press conference this afternoon with the Chief of Staff of the Guyana Defense Force, the Chief of Staff of the Guyana Defense Force, I'd like to probably have you guys listen for a quick minute.
We had deployed our Skyvan in a safe manner. Having known the danger and the challenges of being in that area. So we want to ensure that the team exercised caution. It did not allow us anywhere to have a certain rescue intervention, rescue task. We are always concerned about the safety of our ranks, and this remains a priority for us to locate and save and secure our ranks. As the Chief of Staff, I remain optimistic on a number of criteria. The officers on this aircraft are among our best. Lieutenant Colonel Michael Charles is no stranger to the public, and certainly not to the force. With over 4 decades of flying and flying experience. While we are analyzing all the information available to us, this incident, I'm sure has generated additional anxiety in this period that we are in. As a force, one of the Obligation we have is to communicate to the relatives of the officers and ranks on that flight, which we did. And we'll continue to communicate with those family members. Our efforts to search will recommence in the morning. We have troops on the ground, and we will recommence those search efforts in the morning. I'm confident that what we would have gained today of the terrain and other data, we will have a better day tomorrow. I thank you for your time for being here, and I will extend to you questions that you may have. Forgive me, I don't know your name, but I'll ask.
Ladies and gentlemen of the media, let's observe regular protocol. Your news agency and your name, please.
Travis J. HGP 19 News. Sir, were you able to confirm if anybody saw when the helicopter went down? What is your intelligence telling you that actually probably happened?
No, we don't have any reports of that anyone seen the helicopter going down.
Gordon Mosley, news source. Sir, could you say if the Ghana Defense Force received any reports of movement with Venezuelan aircraft on that side of the border, on their side, during the course of the day, close to the Ghana border areas?
We do not have any information suggesting that there was any flight by miles east of the border of the village called Arao.
Sir, taking into account all of the developments that took place last evening, what we heard from the Venezuelan president and from our own president late last night, and taking into account the weather conditions generally today, did the GDF think it best to send this team in with some of your more experienced persons into the area with all of that happening? Was it a wise choice looking back?
There's always looking back, there's always a better opportunity to see all the decisions we made. But I tell you, as a force, every time we are deployed, there's an assessment done. There's a map analysis of our flight route, and that was done. The decision to go into that area was a decision made by the persons who would have been assessing the safety of that flight. It's a good question, Mr. Mosley, and I'm trusting the judge. The closest we have location is the Keriku top, but it's in a general area where there is no inhabitants.
And is it easily accessible by foot?
Well, I will tell you, if it was, we would have been there. It's heavily forested, mountainous, so it's not. Search and rescue, depending on the terrain, you would have the fixed aircraft flying over based on the location of the ELT signal, identifying the craft, then deploying the rotor wing, which is the helicopter, to have those ranks rappel down into the jungle.
So have any troops been rappelled down in the area today, or that was not
Yes.
possible due to the weather?
That was the intention, but even that we could not have done based on the visibility. Yes.
So is the GDF concerned at all that this might be more than just an incident of a possible crash or impact? Taking into account this was a very experienced, 40 years, a very experienced pilot, knowing when to fly, how to fly in that specific area. Is the GDF concerned that this might be something more than the aircraft going down because of an emergency?
speculation is not what I want to go. But of course, we have other situations in a period like what we are having now, with our territorial integrity being threatened. There's many other things we can think about, which I would not want to go into. But we are considering every possibility. Um, and right now, our priority is to find and save the lives of our officers and ranks.
Has there been any assistance as yet from the U.S. Southern Command in terms of the search and rescue operations? There are reports that there have been U.S. military aircraft patrolling the skies over Guyana since this past weekend.
Well, I will tell you, incidentally, I had scheduled meetings today, several meetings, and our partners were updated um, on this search and rescue mission that we had today. And the US was informed, Brazil was informed, RSS was informed. And tomorrow we'll see additional assets. Well, we'll have it from our partners.
So since we're on the issue of partners, do you know if we buy, or do we get satellite photos from our friendly states to track any possible Venezuelan?
I'm sure if we are still on the, I want to stay on the search and rescue part of our press conference. Forgive me. Yes.
Any other questions reference the operation?
Brigadier, Chief of Staff, have you asked for a review of the safety records for the aircraft? And if so, what has it shown so far?
I will tell you, that's a good question. I know the GCAA has activated their process, and they are doing their work. We are meant to generate all the data, the manifest, the weight, the flight plan, etc. And all of that has been compiled and I believe submitted to the GCAA.
Were any reports brought to your attention about any problems with this aircraft
No.
since its acquisition?
Aircraft always develop issues that will not affect its flight, but may affect the air condition, other minor parts. Every time an aircraft goes up, it has the inspection and certification of the engineer, and also with the pilot. They have to be satisfied before they fly. Given the experience we have with our pilots, there was no reported in issue with that aircraft, that particular aircraft.
Do you know how old are these aircraft?
This is one of the two aircraft we acquired in the past 2 years. Yes.
2 years.
Yes.
Leroy Smith, Big Smith News Watch. Could you say, Chief of Staff, if the aircraft is properly equipped with the mechanism to scramble any attempt to interfere with its communication and this sort of stuff? Properly equipped.
The aircraft is properly equipped to fly. Our communication, there is a satellite phone on the aircraft, other than its organic and indigenous communication set that it used to communicate with the flight control. There is a satellite phone on deck. We have not had any report of any interference relating to communication. Phone communication depends on a clear sky. So that also could be an issue why we have not been hearing from them or we communicating to them. Yes.
Sir, any message to the family of those soldiers on board? I know you said you're optimistic, but your demeanor doesn't say that. What message do you send to the family this evening, and what message do you send to your soldiers in those bordering locations around Ettering Bank?
Well, thank you for that, Mosley. But if your judgment of my demeanor is in any way your own interpretation, I want my my officers safe. That's my focus right now. My troops on the border, I would tell you, their morale is high. I would have been visiting almost every week along with other commanders, and I will be visiting them soon. But don't let my demeanor make you think otherwise.
But what do you say to your troops? They must be concerned. A missing aircraft there in these border locations, the threats from Venezuela. What assurances can you give them tonight?
You see, let me deviate a bit and tell you, we are a different breed of people. When we wear this uniform, it brings a new meaning to life. The enlistment in any military is not a decision that anyone could make. As a matter of fact, this is the best decision that we could have made. There are three types of people, Mr. Mosley, for me as a military officer. Those who go through life not knowing what they're good at and never finding what they're good at, and they die. And then the second type, those who go through life and knowing the latter part of their life what they're good at, but they did not get the time enough to develop on it. And then there are those who in the early stage of their life understand what they want and what they're best at. And those people, all of them fall in the category of being a soldier. We live our life to serve and to protect the country that we serve. And I'm confident that every officer and every soldier is in that category, but I know they're already there. Thank you.
You have assurance that the GDF helicopter was not taken out of the sky by Venezuela.
We have no information to suggest that because we also had rescue mission in the same. We had 2 aircraft flying in that same area. Thank you for your time, and may you continue to serve like me, this country, this beautiful country. Thank you.
Okay, so you heard there from the Chief of Staff of the Guyana Defense Force talking about 3 types of people: those who live a life and just don't know whatever, they just die. While he's talking there, what came to mind is the folks at Lindo Creek, those folks who were murdered. And to this day, the family members have not gotten any closure. And those people just didn't live to die for nothing. There were hardworking people out there in Lindo Creek, and they were murdered, allegedly by members of the disciplined forces. Allegedly, a force that was headed by several persons, including the now Chief of Staff of the Guyana Defense Force. Those people died without their relatives having any answers. Lindo Creek comes to mind. Again, Lindo Creek comes to mind. And now let's get back to these missing soldiers. And even as the threats coming in from Venezuela, according to Bloomberg report is saying here that ExxonMobil focusing on producing oil in Guyana amid row with Venezuela. In other words, Exxon is saying, look, I don't care about the row. I don't care what's happening. We're going to continue to produce oil. We're just going to continue to produce oil. The ExxonMobil Corporate Chief Executive Officer Darren Woods said the Texas energy giant is focusing on producing oil in Guyana as efficiently as possible to help the South American country in its border dispute with Venezuela. So how is it producing oil is helping with the dispute in Venezuela? I don't know, but in case you guys know something that I don't know, well, here's what it U.S. warns against violence conflict in Venezuela, Guyana row. The U.S. is now warning something. We may go to bed this evening, guys. We may go to bed this evening, and then upon we open our eyes, all of us who are lucky enough to make it through the night. This is what the White House is saying now. The White House expressed concern on Wednesday, that is today, at mounting tensions between Venezuela and Guyana over disputed oil-rich border region, saying it wants them to avoid any violence or conflict. That came from the White House. And the National Security Council spokesman, that's John Kirby, said, it's concerning. We are watching this very, very, very closely. John Kirby is saying, the National Security Council spokesperson is saying, they're watching the situation very, very, very closely. Canada has warned its citizens to be very careful. To be very careful. Then there's another report that says here, Venezuela moves ahead with planned annex Guyana, Maduro and his madness. Maduro and his stupidity. All right, a lot of folks are messaging. I'm getting a report from a very, very senior person in the military, Guyana military, that is, attempting to confirm the seventh person. There are six military officers that we're seeing here. Seven. They're saying seven. But who is? The question is, guys, who is the seventh person? Nobody seemed to know who the seventh person is. But what we have been hearing is that Irfan Ali and Jack Yale, they have included non-civilians. They have included what is called Phantom Squad operatives, drug lords and money launderers, into important meetings and national security meetings. They have invited any Tom, Dick, and Harry into those meetings. Any Tom, Dick, and Harry into those meetings. Tom, Dick, and Harry, they have invited into the meetings. And let us not, for a moment, let us not be surprised if by tomorrow, God, things go well and we hear that the helicopter is down. They found the helicopter, but they cannot locate the men. Let us not be surprised if the men, and this might be a good way of trying to steer the family members away from the possibility that the men have died. We're not, at least I'm not calling that on them, and I don't want to be insensitive, but it's a time of war in Guyana, and anything happens. They are soldiers, and these things do happen too. But what if now the scenario that the helicopter was escorted by fighter jets, Venezuelan fighter jets, over onto Venezuelan side, down the helicopter, ensure that the men are taken out, and they're now prisoners of war. What if that's the case? That's one angle. That's one way to look at it. The other thing that, and I think I brought it up to you guys earlier, is that the Foreign Affairs Minister, Hugh Todd, today placed a phone call to the Venezuelan ambassador to Guyana. He is still in Guyana. What sort of leader would still allow the Venezuelan ambassador in Guyana? The Venezuelan ambassador in Guyana needs to be sent out, ejected out of Guyana with immediate effect. He needs to go with immediate effect. If Guyana cannot have an ambassador in Venezuela, then Venezuela cannot have an ambassador in Guyana. And any strong leader, look at what Israel did to Spain, and I think another country. They expelled the ambassador, Spain's ambassador to Israel, sent him packing back to Madrid over some situation where the ambassador, the prime minister of Spain, said something that Netanyahu didn't like. Netanyahu said, come here, I need to talk to you. Okay, I'm not satisfied, get out. But look at what Venezuela, look at what Maduro has done. Already claimed the entire Essequibo region. Claimed it, all manner of things. And guess what? Guess what? This installed PPP regime, call the ambassador, Venezuelan ambassador to Guyana, ask him to explain. Do you think the ambassador is going to tell you anything? Now is not the time to explain. Now is the time to expel. It's to get him out of the country. Let him go. Shut the embassy down. There's no longer any diplomatic relationship with Guyana. No way. It's done. It's not time for diplomacy. Shut them out, completely out. Wait until there's a regime change very soon in Venezuela. And then you negotiate to have respect for both nations and put back an ambassador there. Because if this guy, Dr. Richard Van West Charles, has been sitting in Guyana receiving taxpayers' money, I suspect, lots of money every month, and he's not doing anything. The Venezuelan government doesn't want him. They don't want to accept his credentials. And so he's still there in Guyana receiving pay as an ambassador, but yet he cannot go to Caracas. And the government of Guyana has the Venezuelan ambassador sitting there. And then UTAD calls him up for an explanation. It doesn't make sense. Something, guys, I repeat, something is not adding up at all. I noticed somebody say Guyana is a poppy show. Of course it's a poppy show. It's the weakest that we have had. These guys are not about country and development of country and so forth. They're corrupt. They're no different than Maduro. They are corrupt. They are evil. And now they sit down and they want everybody to clap hands, hug up we're one, we're one. If we are one in this, then they should have shown that, demonstrated that from day one. But no, they excluded everybody from the opposition side, excluded them out, persecuting people, bulldozing people's lands, all manner, whether it's from Linden to Mocha, all over. People are starving right now. They don't give a damn about sugar workers. They don't give a damn about rice farmers. They don't give a damn about bauxite workers. They just don't give a damn about anything other than their friends and corrupt members of the private sector commission and all these things. That's all they're concerned about. How they can rape the country, millions upon millions of dollars. Look at the corruption with $314 million US dollars for the audit in Exxon that probably God in heaven knows where it's gone. And then ordered Exxon to only pay $3 million. So people, the Guyanese people are pakus. Now they need the Guyanese people to rally around them. Just like the song in the West Indies, the cricket, rally around the West Indies. They want people to rally around the PPP. Oh, we have to stand strong. Oh, now is not time for a Ben Shop or anybody else talking crap, according to them, mind you. But they don't forget what they have done to Guyanese people. Now, everybody, I suppose, want to be patriotic. But being patriotic doesn't mean you got to kiss up to these pakus in government. It doesn't mean you got to embrace them. That is not the definition of patriotism, at least not for me. And so it is okay for us to take a different position than these clunks who are in office. Mind you, they're the ones who got us where we are today. They're the ones who have encouraged Maduro, that criminal Maduro, to behave in this manner. Do you think Maduro would have done that under the coalition? He attempted it, and look what happened. Look what happened. Look where they accepted that whatever the decision in the International Court of Justice, whatever that decision, they will abide by it. They went to the ICJ. Guyana is paying a heck of a lot of money. Because some of those lawyers like Sridhar Ramphal and them, they're getting over $1 million US salary. Over $1 million US, Sir Street at Ramphal is getting, and others probably getting close enough. Tons and tons of money they're being paid. They're big shot lawyers. If that's what they got to be paid, they got to be paid. But over $1 million US salary. Do the math on that. To fight the border issue, and it has been dragging on and dragging on and dragging on. And what happened? Poor people in getting nothing. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. The country is getting poorer and poorer and poorer. Those big companies are getting richer and richer and richer, and nobody is standing up. Nobody is standing up for the ordinary people. Who is? Jack Deere isn't. Jack Deere doesn't give a rat's about the ordinary folks. Irfan doesn't care. And there, ordinary people came out, some of a mud hut. Some eat crocketé, and look where they are today. They turn their backs on individuals, the working class people. They just don't give a damn. And now suddenly, they got Guyanese in this mess that they're in right now, and they're crying crocodile tears. Look at how he behaves when he's on what is it? He's on CBS, and he's on where is it? He's on CBS, he's on CNN, he's on BBC. Today he was on Al Jazeera or earlier, and as soon as it's like they caught a big fish or a big Kerga crab or whatever you call it, and then they post it on their page. Look, Al Jazeera. But he's not talking to you, the people. He doesn't give a damn. He doesn't give a damn about you, the people. He doesn't give a damn about the people on the border of Venezuela, Guyana there. Why doesn't he go there now? Why can't they send their advisors there? Why can't the National Security Advisor and a team go to the border and get an assessment right now as to what's happening? But they sent a helicopter, whoever is the one that advised them, sent a helicopter there. Under that sort of weather, a broke-down helicopter that they bought for probably 5 or 10 times the amount of the cost of it. They paint it up a little bit, spray it up, buy 1 and 2 parts rate. Somebody get filthy rich fixing it. And then this is the helicopter they're sending till over there in that bad weather with all these guys. What was the purpose of going there? What was the purpose? Can somebody say what was the purpose? These guys could, I hope they're alive. Things are not looking too good, and I don't want my mouth to catch the family members or whatever, but under the circumstances, we got to be realistic. They're soldiers. They know how to survive. Let's hope that if their helicopter was shot down, or this broke-down helicopter that Irfan and Jack they purchased through some sort of corrupt procurement, let us hope that it didn't just fall down just like that because of bad weather and something bad happened to these guys. Let us hope not. But even if it fell down, let us hope that some of them, they're all soldiers. Let us hope they survive. Let us hope they know. And they're there on the ground if they haven't been taken away by the Venezuelans. I don't know, mind you. And so very early in the morning, they have another team that's going to be heading there. The weather is still bad. Let us not probably get a press release from the team that, look, the weather was bad and then they had to turn back. But they will go back tomorrow. The minute we start hearing that, we might as well continue to keep our fingers really and tightly crossed that these guys will survive. But what was the purpose of this helicopter visit in the area? What was the purpose? What were they gathering? For what purpose? I don't know. Brigadier retired Gary Beaton is an advisor to Irfan Ali. Why were they on this mission? With this sort of helicopter, that's the question. This sort of helicopter. At this time, you will have your special forces guys on the ground, and you will have guys communicating back to Camp Ayangana or wherever to say, this is what we're observing. This is the situation right now. So the question is again, why? What was the purpose? And who sent these guys? And the other thing is, who is the seventh person? Who is the seventh person on this trip? Can somebody say who the seventh person is? The Guyana Defense Force did not reveal the name of the seventh person on this trip. Who is the seventh person? Who is? Not sure if anybody has anything to say. Not sure again. I'm not sure if anybody has anything to say. Yeah, sorry about that. I thought Irfan Ali was actually, after I got a notification, I thought Irfan Ali had something to say to address the nation, but he has nothing to say to address the nation. Nothing at all. The opposition party themselves, they're quiet for whatever reason. I don't know. They are always quiet on these issues. Very, very quiet on these issues. Extremely quiet on these issues. Maybe it's a strategy. And they strategize better when they're quiet. Now is the time people need to hear from our leaders. If we don't have leaders in the regime, turn to leaders in the opposition. If we have any, turn to them. They should have already had 2 or 3 press conferences on this matter. I would have called a press conference on the fact that what Maduro said. Don't just issue a press release. People just don't read as much as they used to before. People want to hear. They want to see. They want to see you guys. They want to hear you guys. And every minute you just issue a press release. We're back to this press release, issuing a press release, just like the same complaint about the previous opposition. Oh, too many press releases and no press con, and now we're back to press releases. Press releases upon press releases. I don't know, press releases upon press releases. Guys, I'm reading some of your comments while chatting. And yes, yep. Beaton is, of course, you see here, Brigadier retired Gary Beaton is the connected to Westward, as indicated and earlier. Somebody say maybe the 7th person is BJ. Holy smoke. Gosh, probably drink up a Red Bull tonight if that were the case. But Selwyn Peters, attorney at law, Selwyn Peters, is saying that the 7th person is Corporal Dwayne Jackson. Dwayne Jackson is the 7th person. Corporal Dwayne Jackson is the 7th person. And Dwayne Jackson is the 7th person. I'm not sure. Somebody else is saying the guy behind Colonel Michael Shahood is the 7th person. I doubt that is the 7th person. But Selwyn Peters, attorney at law, Selwyn Peters is saying that the 7th person is Corporal Dwayne Jackson. So it couldn't be the person behind Michael Shahood, Colonel Michael Shahood there. Somebody's saying the 7th person is a Venezuelan, probably connected to, and somebody now gone, oh, poor Selwyn getting lashed now. Somebody saying Selwyn, Peter said Irfan was doing a good job as president. Wonder if he still thinks that Poor Selvin. Let Selvin deal with that now. All right, guys. Let's as we get back into. There's no further update. There's no further update. People are just messaging me left, right, and center. Someone within the Guyana police force has messaged me to say, yep, Selwyn Peters is correct, that the seventh person is Corporal Dwayne and Keith Michael Austin. That's where you get these old-time GBC guys. And I say old-time in a good sense, Keith Michael Austin. I worked along with Keith Michael Austin, a good guy. Keith Michael Austin is confirming also that the seventh person is Corporal Dwayne Johnson. Corporal Dwayne Johnson. I know some Johnsons from Leeds Village under quarantine. Leeds Village under quarantine. I'm not sure if this Corporal Dwayne Johnson is connected to those Johnsons up on the quarantine. But guys, this is where we are. The country is very, very quiet right now. Very quiet. Extremely quiet. Not a word from Irfan. Irfan is just waiting some other interview from overseas. And that's all he's concerned about. How he can sound a little nice-ish. Far from it. But as I prepare to probably head off, and I'm reading some of the messages I'm getting, inbox messages, private messages concerning updates, and someone said to me earlier, hey Mark, the chief of staff is quite aware that there's a high possibility that Venezuelan soldiers may have shot down the helicopter. Lots of things we are hearing. We don't know how accurate those things are. But what I can remind you guys is that during the course of the day, the PPP, and this is important for you guys to hear this here. The PPP media houses were the first to jump out. They took jump start. They jumped out and they said, "Hey guys, stop it!" Soldiers, the officers were found, helicopter found, and everything is okay. Newsroom said that. NCN said that, and they're both controlled by the government. They're both PPP. NCN is being paid for by taxpayers, and Newsroom is very close to the PPP. So ask yourselves this question. Why during this process that the government media houses were the ones to jump out to say, look, everything is okay. They recovered the aircraft, the missing helicopter, and the soldiers, the military guys, they're okay, they're fine. NCN said that. Newsroom said that, and then they removed it. And then during the process, after the PPP propaganda news houses went ahead with that propaganda, the Guyana Defense Force issued a press release saying they're still searching for the helicopter. They're still searching for the helicopter and its crew. So lots of missing link here, guys. And meanwhile, Irfan Ali is not comfortable. He doesn't want to talk to you guys. He's running like a little pussy cat. But as soon as Al Jazeera calls, he's ready to talk. Puts on his mismatched suits and all manner of things to talk to the foreign press. He doesn't want to talk to you guys. And right now, the Venezuelans are planning. They're not sleeping. Every avenue they're using. Tomorrow we're going to hear that, guess what? Some jets, Venezuelan jets, fighter jets flying across Guyana's territory. Venezuelan is going to show off tomorrow. What do we have? Slinging shots? What do we have? Is Jack Day going to yell at them, abuse them out, and the helicopters and the planes, the fighter jets are going to run away? Just like he loves to abuse out people at his press conferences. He has no regard for people, none whatsoever. We are in this mess as a result of bad leadership the country has right now. And that's the reality. Or take the baseball bat, just like they beat Brian Max. Almost killed the guy. Take the baseball bat to the borders. Take the guys who threw that filth in Freddie's face, and take Freddie too. Take all of them to the border. Let them fight. Let Freddie fight. And he might cry just like he cried in Brickdam lockups. He cried like a little baby. He cried. They can't fight. They can't do nothing. But they want to take advantage of ordinary Guyanese people. Go now to the borders. Go and do your stuff there. They're not going to do it. They're going to pick on Brian Max. They're going to pick on Trevor Ben. They're going to persecute those people. They're going to persecute Malcolm Harry Paul. They're going to persecute Roxanne Myers, Llewellyn Field, Mingo, and all these people they're going to persecute. That's what they want to do. Some of those so-called bad guys drive around Georgetown with their guns and their big police escorts. Let them go at the border. That is where they should be. If they get more seed and bygone, let them go at the border right now. That is where they're needed to protect the country and protect their wealth. The billions of dollars that they got from the country, from poor people. Smuggling of gold, selling of drugs, smuggling of all sorts of things, fuel and these sort of things. Let them go and fight. Recently, they were more concerned about what's happening in between Israel and Hamas. But nothing in your own territory. No protest, no concern, no nothing. Have you guys seen a press release from CIOG? No. Have you guys heard from Donald Ramotar on this issue? No. The reality is that they don't care. But as soon as something happened out there, Israel and Hamas and so forth, Donald Ramotar jumped out with Azruddin Mohammed's father and all of them, and it must stop. It must stop. But not a word from these guys about what's happening with Venezuela and Guyana and that madman Maduro. Not a word from Donald Ramotar. Correct me if I'm wrong. Not a word from Donald Ramotar. I don't know, guys. I don't know. What's happening in the Middle East is more important to them in CIOG than what's happening at the border right now. And they want poor people picnic to go and fight and defend and protect them. That's what they want. The same people they described as hungry belly dogs. I'm not saying it. That is what they describe. Send that nutcase, that madman that they're giving $1 billion contract to, and all manner of things. Send that madman on the border. He likes to pick up the phone and cuss poor people. Poor lady on the phone. What the? Send that madman at the border. Let them fight. Send Kwame McCoy. Let them turn around and fight. Shoot. Turn around. Bloom. Turn back around. Bloom. Let them go. They're the ones who gotta go. They're the ones who should be fighting. But instead they're just they sit back and they want those ordinary, the same people them that they're cussing up. And when Malcolm Harry Paul tell them the truth, they get vexed. Look at what they did to Pandit Ubraj Narayan. Took him out of the army because of what? He stood up for the vendors there. At least Ubraj Narayan is brave enough to join the Guyana Defense Force. But those Pakus at Freedom House are not brave enough for that. They're brave enough to join phantom squads and killing squads and hide behind some of those murderers in the Guyana Police Force. To defend them, that is what they do. And just to make it clear, I don't subscribe to the view that all of the members of the Guyana Police Force are bad people. There's still very many good people within the Guyana Police Force, but the few corrupt ones are the ones who are taking orders from the corrupt, murderous PPP regime and their friends in the drug world. So let them go. Let them go and fight. Let them go and fight. That doesn't make me unpatriotic. I'm being realistic. We're all patriotic, yes. But suddenly the hungry belly people got to go and fight. The people that they bulldoze their lands got to go and fight. The people that they persecute got to go and fight. For those who live in their big fancy mansions and drive their big fancy cars with illegal police escorts and all these sort of things. This regime, the PPP regime, has no respect and no love for poor people in the country. The same that Maduro is doing to his people in Venezuela. Millions of them are starved. Hundreds of them are locked up. They're jailed because of their political views that Maduro doesn't like. The same thing is happening in Guyana. Venezuela is an oil-rich country. The people should be living better off. But guess what? Maduro is starving them. Maduro's government is corrupt, taking all of the monies, stealing the monies. What is it that he's doing for his people in Venezuela? And we ask ourselves, what is it Jack Deo and Irfan are doing for the people of Guyana? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. They run in and they make little road and they feel that that is okay. Nice roads. It's okay. Nice roads. Oops. It's that time, guys. I think I gotta go. It's just that time, guys. I think I gotta go. That is what, Emma, you want to become a soldier? No. What do you want to become?
A ballet person.
A ballet dancer? All right, good. We'll stick with that for now.
Hot dog.
Hot dogs? No? Oops, all right.
And lemonade.
And lemonade? Okay, I'll be there just now.
No.
You want taco? Taco. I'm just kidding. Yeah, Maduro might love it. All right, sweetheart. She's allergic to taco. Well, hey guys, sorry about that. It happens. But we've got to continue to pray for Guyana. It's in the wrong hands, right? It's in the wrong hands right now. Wrong hands, guys. Wrong hands. It's in the wrong hands. And let me remind you guys what Jack Deo has in mind for Venezuela and Guyana. Jack Deo has this in mind, you know. Listen.
You could probably, on the maritime area, give Venezuela a channel out to the sea. So you make a slight concession in the maritime area.
I wonder if the foreign press, whether members of the foreign press know that. I wonder if they do. And if some of them are watching tonight, this is it. Jack Deo wanting to give a piece of Venezuela, of Essequibo to Venezuela.
You could probably, on the maritime area, give Venezuela a channel out to the sea. So you make a slight concession in the maritime area.
You know, if Jack Deo and his cronies, his criminals, and Irfan Ali and their criminals, if they weren't targeting overseas-based Guyanese, you know how many overseas-based Guyanese would have loved to be back there right now? Let's all join hands. But no, the PPP is a traitor. All of them in the PPP. That is what the hierarchy of the PPP. That is what they're doing. They're not patriotic at all. They're not. But they cuss people out, especially persons of African descent, and especially those who don't support them. Regardless of ethnicity, they cuss people, they chase people out, all manner of things. Let them soak in their own vomit right now. We'll figure a way out as a people, as patriotic folks. We will figure a way out. But they got to soak in their own vomit. And they got to stay right where they are. We cannot revive them. If we revive them, they are going to do us 10 times worse than what they've already done to us, and 10 times worse than what Maduro is doing to his people. That criminal Maduro is doing to his people. Jack Deo, Irfan, and these vagabonds in the PPP are no different than Maduro. They're no different than the vice president that they're cussing out. Imagine a corrupt vice president, a vice president who is cruel and vindictive to his own people in Guyana, is cussing out another country's vice president who is probably the same as he is, or he is probably worse than the one he's cussing out right now. So it's pot and kettle right now, right? And let them sail away out of Guyana, and the Guyanese people will survive. All, regardless of your race or your religion, all of the people will survive. But the opposition got to wake up, though. I just thought I squeezed that one in. The opposition got to wake up. See you guys tomorrow morning, or if there's a breaking news later on this evening, I'll be up for you guys. I'll be up. It can be breaking news story. It can be, or very early in the morning. I'm out of here, though. Thank you all so much. I got to get to my next job, babysitting. So long.
Yeah, my name is Geopolitical Francis Vietnam, and since 1965, I become a voter, and I always place my X next to the cup. And what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data.
You could probably, on the maritime area, give Venezuela a channel out to the sea. So you make
Hello, this is attorney Shellen Washington, owner and founder of the Washington law firm located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you. So call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.
With another one, straight up, blackness I am. Aye, who tell the truth? Margaret stop, defend the ghetto youth. Margaret stop, registration is the truth. Margaret stop, straight up from the root. Margaret stop, who tell the truth? Margaret stop, defend the ghetto youth. Margaret stop, registration is the truth. Margaret stop, straight up from the root. Margaret stop, I do it for the love, him not do it for no money. Straight up, him attack, educating everybody. Big up my friends and big up my family. Turn on the radio, catch the vibes, it's integrity. Straight up, and SCAP stands for unity. One people, one nation, one destiny. Free up the truth in the air, even the blind can see. The deaf can need it, don't contact the crip can walk. Who tell the truth? Margaret stop, defend the ghetto youth. Margaret stop, registration is the truth. Margaret stop, straight up from the root.
Not a blade of grass. We love the human country. The woman who and the secret. This harmonize. We make criticizing. This is a home we love. And we need to keep it. We have that right. No, we ain't giving up no money. We ain't giving up no tree. We ain't giving grass. Not one golden apple, not one jamon, not a drop of
4,000.